Have you ever pondered the intriguing question, why didn't the United States fight in World War I? After all, it was a conflict that enveloped the globe, and yet the world's soon-to-be leading superpower remained conspicuously absent from the battlefield for most of the war. Unraveling this enigma requires a journey back in time, a deep dive into the tangled web of international relations, domestic politics, and personal convictions that marked this tumultuous period in history. Our journey begins in the early 20th century, with a United States that was markedly different from the one we know today. The nation was still finding its feet on the global stage, having only emerged from its own civil war a few decades prior. The prevailing sentiment was one of isolationism. The American public, leaders, and policymakers alike were wary of entanglement in the complex and often volatile affairs of the Old World. The oceanic distances between the United States and Europe seemed to underscore this psychological divide. The second reason for the United States' initial non-participation lay in the realm of economics. American industry was booming, and the warring nations in Europe represented lucrative markets for American goods. The United States was more than happy to play the role of the neutral supplier, selling to both sides without picking a fight. This economic boom also helped fuel the growth of the American economy, transforming it into the powerhouse it is today. However, the most significant reason was perhaps the political landscape of the time. President Woodrow Wilson, in office during the First World War, was a staunch advocate of peace. His vision was one of a world governed by democratic principles and international law, rather than the might of armies and navies. He believed that the United States could best serve the cause of peace by staying out of the war and acting as a mediator between the warring parties. Despite these reasons, the United States did eventually join the war in its final year, in 1917. Several factors contributed to this shift, including Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare and the infamous Zimmermann Telegram, which proposed an alliance between Germany and Mexico against the United States. These actions were perceived as direct threats to American security, compelling the United States to abandon its neutrality and enter the war. In summary, the United States' initial absence from World War I can be attributed to its isolationist sentiment, economic interests, and the pacifist ideals of its president. However, perceived threats to its security eventually led the United States to abandon its neutrality and join the war. This period serves as a stark reminder of the delicate interplay between domestic politics, economics, and international relations in shaping a nation's response to global events. It was a time when the United States, on the cusp of becoming a global superpower, had to grapple with its role on the world stage, a struggle that continues to resonate even today.